Across the straits in the year 711, sails cut the dawn. What followed reshaped a continent. This is the story of Al-Andalus, when scholars, builders, and poets transformed Iberia with new science, new art, and new ways to live. From Cordoba's libraries to the arches of Granada, a frontier became a lighthouse. And when empires collided, the ideas endured. This is Colonizers Crushed, the Battle of Adwa.
In the late 19th century, European powers carved Africa into colonies, but Ethiopia stood defiant. Italy sought to expand its empire. In 1896, it marched deep into Ethiopian highlands, confident of a swift conquest. But Ethiopia was not divided. Emperor Menelik II united his people, calling warriors from every corner of the land. Alongside him stood Empress Taytu, commanding respect, courage, and a will of iron. Diplomacy had armed Ethiopia. Menelik purchased rifles and cannons from Europe itself, turning imperial weapons against empire. By March 1st, 1896, over 100,000 Ethiopian warriors prepared for the showdown at Adwa. Before dawn, Italian forces advanced, divided into columns across the treacherous terrain. They underestimated Ethiopia's strength, believing sheer modern firepower would guarantee victory. But Ethiopian scouts had already mapped the terrain. Menelik knew exactly where to strike. At dawn, waves of Ethiopian warriors charged down the hillsides, spears flashing, rifles firing. Priests marched among them, holding aloft great wooden crosses, blessing their advance. The Italians opened fire, cannons roaring, rifles cracking. But the Ethiopian charge did not falter. Empress Taytu herself commanded artillery, rallying fighters to hold the line. Italy's columns broke apart, their coordination shattered in the hills. Ethiopian cavalry surged forward, striking fear into the invaders. Menelik II urged his people onward, reminding them they fought for freedom, faith, and the future. By midday, the Italian lines were collapsing. Thousands fled in panic. The invaders' modern cannons lay captured, now turned against their former masters. The ground shook with the sound of drums, chants, and the thunder of hoofs. Italy's dream of empire turned into nightmare as Adwa consumed its army. By evening, the hills of Adwa belonged to Ethiopia, their independence secured by blood and courage. The Battle of Adwa left thousands of Italian soldiers dead or captured, a devastating blow to European pride. Ethiopia had done what no other African nation had, defeated a European empire in open battle. News of Adwa spread across the world, inspiring colonized peoples from Africa to Asia. For black communities in the Americas, Adwa became a beacon of hope, proof that empire could be resisted. Adwa was more than a battle. It was a symbol of dignity, freedom, and unity. Emperor Menelik II and Empress Taytu entered history as guardians of independence, and Ethiopia remained free, while much of Africa lay under colonial rule. Today, the memory of Adwa still inspires, a reminder of the power of unity and courage. The hills of Adwa whisper still. Freedom is not given, it is fought for.
The Battle of Adwa was more than a military victory. It was a declaration to the world that African sovereignty was not a myth, and that unity, strategy, and courage could defeat empire. In an age defined by conquest, Ethiopia stood firm, changing history and inspiring generations to resist domination wherever it appeared. For more information on this incredible story, we recommend the following: The Battle of Adwa, African Victory in the Age of Empire, Raymond Jonas. Empress Taytu and Menelik II, Ethiopia, 1883 to 1910, Chris Prouty. African Dominion, A New History of Empire in Early and Medieval West Africa, Michael A. Gomez. Al-Andalus is just one example. There are many times throughout history where the people fought back and the colonizers were defeated. Join us next time on Colonizers Crushed.